Now, you had something to bring up. I wanted to know exactly what it was. Because you didn't really give us anything. You're just like, I got to talk about something.
So, a lot of people have been, like, speaking to me about the mixtape and stuff like that. Like, there's people who have been, like, asking me about the skits and stuff like that and all of that shit. The specific thing that I got asked about was because everybody knew that Dasha was Maddie's middle name.
Mm-hmm.
And in the... All right, I'm breaking up right now because, you know, it's kind of... It's emotional to talk about. But, yeah, Dasha is Maddie's middle name. And I didn't know that was going into one of the tracks. And he had told me, like, probably like 2 months back that, you know, he's like, you know, I have you and a story about Zay in there. And, you know, I won't say the specifics about Zay. You know, that's Zay's story to tell when he's ready. But the end of the first verse, the last line was, if it wasn't for Dash, I would have lost my nigga to suicide.
Oh, shit.
And that had to deal with me because I was going through a rough patch at that time. And it was bad, man. Like, nobody was feeding into it. I didn't contact anybody about it, you know. I didn't contact my dad about it because it was just, there was a whole bunch of shit like that was tumbling down, and I didn't want anybody to think that I was throwing a pity party for myself.
Right.
So it was kind of like, I'm not, and my dad he's very strict when it comes to that because he's lost some people to suicide, and he's lost some people, you know, some of his closest friends to, you know, drug overdoses and stuff like that, which is kind of like the borderline of suicide. You know, you're doing that to yourself. So he's a very, you know, not judgmental person, but it's kind of like, you know, you deal with shit, you're gonna either get the help that you want or you're weak. And it's not to say that, you know, he's being a bad person, but it's just like, he's come from the bottom up. He's seen my grandfather who came from the bottom up, you know, and he's seen all of the stuff that my grandmother went through. So when it comes to that stuff, he has no tolerance for it. So I kind of like just let it breathe. And I was just like, you know, I went through my shit. And there's even Maddie at that time was thinking that it was so many different things.
Yeah.
But it was really just all of the stuff in my head, my grandfather and all of that stuff, you know, that was weighing heavy on me. And I was just feeling guilty about it. So I was just ready to go. None of my boys knew. I had them in the group chat. Nobody knew.
Right.
And I had taken 12 sleeping pills, and I was just done. And she came in to the crib. She put in the padlock. She came in, and my dumbass left them on the counter. I had all of the lights off, but I left the pill bottle on the counter. And I think it might have been tipped over. It might have been, like, straight up, but my dumbass left them on the counter, and I was just trying to go to sleep. And I just told her, I was just like, she came in, she was like frantic, you know, all erratic, and she was like, what did you do? And I was just like, I'm just trying to go to sleep. Like, I just want to go to sleep. She was like, nah. She called her sister. Then she called the police. They came, grabbed me, took me to the hospital, did what they had to do, and she saved my life. Next day, Jay, Jalil, Zay, Elijah, they all come down and come get me and bring me to Applebee's and just talk to me. Like, just have that day with me.
Yeah, I'm about to cry at the fuck. You got me all fucked up here.
It was bad, man. It was bad. And like I said, you know, this was after us. Like, so I had everybody to contact in the world, and it was one of the things that I told my dad, because my dad was like, he was very, you know, like, this is some bullshit, like, type wave. And I told him, like, you don't realize, like, I could have called anybody. Like, when I was going through little shit and being a bitch about it and being dramatic about this shit and being, like, overly dramatic about it, I call my cousin and be like, you know what, I'm sick of this shit, I'm done with this shit. Or when I was going through shit with my dad, and I would try to, like, when I was a little kid, and, you know, your parents aren't together and they hate each other, so so you're trying to play them against each other at certain points, just to feel better about yourself. And my mom is very quick to be like, you know, your dad's a bitch, this, that, and the third. So I was like, but at that time, like, I didn't really contact anybody. I let my mom know probably the night before that I was like done with shit, but it wasn't like you know, I'm just gonna do this. It was just something that happened, and yeah, Dash really did save my life.
Right.
So, and that's why I wrote that tweet saying, you know, and I put that tagline in there because a lot of people didn't know that, and for me and her go through a lot of stuff, you know, and we're back and forth whenever it comes to our communication and stuff like that. But that girl will be 36, have 4 kids running around because she wants to do boy girl.
Yeah.
She don't like having, you know, kids without siblings, and you know that'll still be my homie.
Right.
Like that'll always and forever be my homie. Like, you know, she's a fucking handful, but you know, we will always be in communication when it comes to that because as much as she's a handful, she really may have well saved my life. So for all of the people out there that go through that, you know, and I've said this on my podcast before too, but you know, the people that do care about you, always, you know, give them the credit that they need and stuff like that, and you know, always speak to them. Don't put that pressure on them at the same time because you're your own man or your own woman, but at the same time, you know who's there for you and realize the real people that's there for you. Don't put all of that pressure on people that, you know, fit into different categories. I always say you always have associates and you have real people that's there.
Right.
So, you know, you have to separate the two. Can't just think that you put everybody in the same box and,
right,
you know, think that everybody's going to be there for you. It's just not how it works.
Right.